Have you seen slot machines with labeled must hit by progressive jackpots? I have a cat in front of me here. um, have you seen those? Here, let me show you what those look like. And by the way, if you have a question, please use hashtag question. And yes, there are labeled must hit by slot machines. Getting into it right away. So this is Kashada. And in Louisiana, this is a close-up of the I think it's the Grand and the Major that shows that there is a must hit by of $500 and $50 and what the progressive is. So when it gets to that number, that 5,000 or that 500, you'll win. It's not gambling anymore. It's well, ding, 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 you won. It's not chance. You cross that number and you win. 100% happens. And then there's also, I'm trying to show you like the overall picture and then the zoom in on the interesting part. So you have to kind of look for these things. This is WinStar in Oklahoma. It's progressive. The hurricane jackpot is up to $1,277.56, but it must hit by 2,000. So that's a long ways away. And so you wait. Slot stalkers, they wait for that to get closer. And then there's 355 and 104.30 or 184. Yeah, 184. And it's a little hard to see it on my small screen, maybe on yours as well. And then there's Atlantis. Atlantis has, let's see, it's 16, no, 14 must hit buys, 9 out on the main casino floor with the low limit machines, 5 in the high limit room out of a couple thousand slot machines. So this, what you're looking for here is to go find them. So now you know what they look like. You may not have seen them at your casino, but because so few slot machines have these labels, but others have noticed and use it to win. These slots enthusiast specialists are called slot stalkers. Let's go over 5 secrets so you can add being the best slot stalker at your casino to your gaming repertoire. And of course, I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. And special thanks to my moderators for helping out with today's live stream. So let me go back to right. So I'll be taking your questions. And yes, if you have a question, please use hashtag question at the beginning of this live chat, at the beginning of your live chat comment. That's so we can be sure to spot your question to me instead of comments in the live chat to each other, because it does get busy there, which is wonderful. This is a community video where friends check in every week with lots of comments to one another, and that's just awesome. But please, if you have a question for me, start your comment with hashtag question. And hello, dear slots enthusiasts. If you're new to my channel, welcome. How these live streams work is I pick a slots topic inspired by your comments, questions, and conversations with you. I talk about that slots related comment for a little while, then answer your questions. And I start asking your questions now. Okay, so let's, the first secret is they exist. And again, here are a few, in case you missed it, here are a few machines. At Kashada, not all of them. At WinStar, not all of them. Atlantis, not all of them. But what I wanted to show you on the Atlantis must hit by is sometimes it's sometimes it's a high limit machine and sometimes it's a low limit machine. So there's the $45,628.15 major on this high limit machine, and the must hit buy is $50,000. You can see it there if you look closely, and that is what we're talking about here. To go hunting. So let me back up just a second and thank Chuck for his donation. Chuck is also a moderator, and Chuck is having his birthday, apparently. Happy birthday, Chuck. It's good to be me, he says in this super chat. And also, I wanted to thank, and everybody tell happy birthday to Chuck. And everybody is. That's great. And let's see. XLL LX Frenzy, I'll just call you Frenzy, has given a donation on the Cash App, which you can go to. It's Professor Slots. If you're looking to do that without the fees of YouTube. And I will say thank you. Oh, yep. Thank you. I see it on my phone. Thank you so much. And welcome. And again, thank you to the moderators. So let's get back to, and I'll watch for comments. Make sure you ask them. And so the second secret is how close to the must hit by must you be for it to cross over that amount and you win. Well, this is different on every slot machine. So what you need to do is check. And this is part of the research and investment that you would need to make if you don't have somebody else do it, like maybe me, but we'll talk about that. Bet $100 and then look at how much the progressive increases with that $100. You have to be careful if it's a network machine. There's a lot going on here. I did provide a link earlier in the live chat about all these details that we can go into, but I assume you know at least how to win on progressive jackpots, whether you put the effort into it. Maybe you're a slot stalker, maybe you've never heard of slot stalkers. So the whole gamut is fine. But bet $100 and see how much $100 raised the major, the grand. I think we showed a hurricane, whatever the name of each progressive is, how much did it go up by? Now, you can't, when you you bet, 90 cents, 88 cents, and 100 times, and you bet $100, whatever that amount is, and maybe you'll win something. So you have to be careful about, are you spending your winnings, or are you spending the original $100 you put in? Spend a known amount. I did that last night at Atlantis, and also Silver Legacy on a couple of machines, just to determine how much each would go up by. And each machine was different. On one machine, it went up by the same amount on the grand as well as the major. But often the grand is much, much smaller. It goes up very little for $100, and it's 5 times as much, 10 times as much on the major, which is a much smaller progressive. So you have to check on the machine that you're targeting, and slot stalkers know this. And maybe you spend $20 if it's a must hit by a $500, so if it went up by $1, and then how much you have to spend in order to get it over the must hit by amount. Basically, the basic idea here is slot stalkers let other people play these games to let their lost money, increase that progressive until it gets close, and then they take over. And we'll talk about that, a kind way to do that. Thank you, Frenzy. And so I've seen it go up by 19 cents. I've seen it go up by 90 cents on the same machine. One for the grand, the first one for the grand, and the second one for the major. And that has consequences, and we'll talk about that. But you need to be able to get close enough to that number that when you put in the necessary money to get it over that must hit by, it's actually a profitable experience. Now, All the difficulties here, all the difficulties here. Okay, so you are because the thing is, a lot of people know about this. Entire casinos know about this. You may be hearing about this for the first time, but there are plenty of people at your casino that stand around these machines, keeping an eye on them while others play them, waiting for that time when, if they were to jump on it, it would be profitable to them. Okay. Got the concept? Okay. It gets complicated. How much of a profit do you want to make? Well, if you wait till the last second, it's more of a profit. But will your friend, the other slot stalker next to you who you don't know and never saw before, will he want that much of a profit? Or will he say, well, if I get on now, I'll get a profit, but other people that wait until the last second, they never get on it because another slot stalker will jump on there. You're working with a crowd of slot stalkers. And so you have to say, how much profit? And somebody else is going to be like, I can accept less. And that's one of the things that you need to work with. And we'll talk about how to get around that in a moment. And so uh, I've gone over 3 points so far. Labeled must hit buys machines exist. Go looking at your casino. There's, what is it, 15, 14 at Atlantis. I saw 4 that were at Gashada. There was that was the biggest progressive on those was a must hit buy of 5,000. There was 4 or 6 other machines where they had a must hit buy of $200, which means, we can talk about what that means. And the question is, how often does the progressive jackpot climb? How long does it take? When somebody hits it, drops down, and it goes back up to that maximum, how long does it take? And if it's $500, and it drops down to $350, a couple hours on a busy night. Yeah. If it's megabucks, which you may not have heard of, but it's a wide area progressive in Nevada. I think there's something like 213 machines in the state. It drops down to, the progressives have a number they drop down to when somebody wins. That drops down to $10 million. And I noticed last night, the megabucks is up to some 13 million something. And so I have not worked on figuring out what the must hit by. It doesn't have a labeled must hit by, but there are, I'll explain the concept in a minute. There is unlabeled must hit buys. It's just how slot machines operate. And you won't hear that anywhere else. That's innovative. That is me figuring stuff out for you using my PhD, my MBA, my other master's degree in physics, engineering, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm here for you and I'm solving your problems. And so how often? It can be, it's often for majors, it can be often as often as 10 to 20 days. For grands, megas, hardly ever. I mean, I've seen machines. There is a casino. There's 2 casinos where I know the hand pays. It's publicly available. I won't tell you where. I'll tell you where one of them is. So let me share Hialeah Park Casino. They have a web page where you can see the progressive jackpots for today. Actually, I'm going to refresh this. Nope, still yesterday. Weekends are a little bit slow. It takes them a couple more hours. But this is yesterday's jackpots on these machines in order of current, and these are all progressives. The amount, and I'm showing this to you. How much was bet? What is the maximum bet? What is the denomination? What is the progressive jackpot that was won? And they go from the highest to the lowest. And this is yesterday. There is no place to find the day before, or the day before, or the day before. But I go to this page every day to download this, just capture these totals, including the location and what the jackpot started at, and I get that information for you, and I'm collecting it. It only shows you today or yesterday if they haven't updated it yet for today. And but I've been doing it every day. Now there's another casino that shows all hand pays, not just the progressives, but all hand pays, and the information is a little bit different, but pretty extensive. And they only show the last 4 weeks, which I have been collecting for 10 months. I have that publicly available information. I have something like 62,000 hand pays and all the information that goes with it, the denomination, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I am using that to look at the progressives and know what the must hit by is. And that is, I mean, I couldn't do it when I first got the information, when I had like a month's worth. What is that? Like 6,000 hand pays. I needed to collect it for 10 months. And I started offering this analysis to Slots Labs participants. And that's one of the things you get from Slots Labs is this, because I've also asked the Slots Labs people if they're interested to go to their casino and see if they have a couple of machines. The machines at Hialeah, I'm happy to show that to you because it looks like they're not common. And it may be that I'll figure out how to win with my method at Hialeah if I choose to fly there. But I'm in Reno. I'm not in Miami. So yes, I have data. What I'm trying to say here is how often I have data saying the majors are 10 to 20 months, and I have 10 months of data. And on some slot machines that you have in your casino, it's never hit in 10 months on the grand, sometimes called the mega, sometimes called the mega. And this is all lessons that we can learn. But every 10 to 20 days, you have an option to play the major near its must hit by. But let's talk about what everybody does, not what I uniquely offer. Everybody has these slot machines that has a must hit by on the major and the minor, whichever, and if it's very close, if it's higher than you've ever been, you can play it to get it to go over that amount and win. It's all yours. And that is a profitable experience that slot enthusiast specialists called slot stalkers have, and your casino may have them if you look around for them. So, so you should check just to keep an eye on things. It takes a little bit of record keeping and etc. And then you have the problem of there's other slot stalkers and you sort of have to beat them to the machine. So that's the next secret, is how to handle that, how to get on a machine and be the one playing it when all the other slot stalkers are trying to get on the machine when they decide that it's getting close enough they can make a profit. And the best thing I can come up with, there's whole forums on this about how to be evil. Seriously, blow smoke in their face, be loud and distracting, annoy them, bump them, to get somebody who's putting money into the machine who doesn't realize it's getting close to the must hit by, didn't even notice, to get them off the machine so you can play it at the last second. And I don't support any of those methods. I support being nice. So be nice. Sit down next to them. You have to figure out how to, you don't want to bug them. You don't want to tell them to stay, but have a conversation. What works? I'm great with machines, not so great with people. So, it's up to you to sort of have a conversation and talk about stuff. And be nice to them, because what you want them to do is leave. Maybe they won't because you're being too nice, but Once their bankroll is gone, then you slide over one chair, and that beats all the other slot stalkers to take a step forward from 20 feet away and go, oh, wow, that's a new slot stalker. And who's taking advantage of sitting next to that person. You don't even have to talk to the person playing. Just you want to be in the first person that sits down at that machine because your proximity, you're close. Okay, so that's be nice and be close, and that is uh, that. So again, there's a crowd of people get pretty upset when they talk about what are these people all like watching? They're lurking, waiting to get on. So sit next to them and be friendly. At the very least, don't be mean. If you are, the forums talk about being mean, but they don't seem to talk quite as much about getting ejected from the casino and prohibited from ever coming back again. And because that's not their concern, and they figure you get out of it or whatever. So, be friendly, be close. Okay. The fifth secret is to team up. Now, I will tell you shortly about an approach that I took where I had a team of 20 who went to all different casinos throughout the country and worked on this. Worked on a few machines that I investigated because I wanted to be able to offer a product to everybody. These are participants in my slots labs. The one that just finished a couple weeks ago, not the one that's not. I'll be introducing this to the people who are coming, who have already registered, and there's still some openings left for the class that begins March 20th, March 19th. But I'll tell you about that. But work with your fellow slots stalkers, because one of the reasons for that, and do I have a slide on this? Yes. Progressives are often networked. So you may sit down at a machine, it's approaching the labeled must hit by number, and you don't win it. Why? Because it was networked on a machine on the other side, or the whole carousel is the same machine, all networked together. And there was a couple other people playing on those, perhaps other slot stalkers, perhaps complete innocents, and they went over the must hit by, and you didn't. I mean, you can make max bets, so it's more likely to be you, especially if they're making minimum bets and because they don't realize. But wouldn't it be great if you teamed up with a spouse and had them sitting at that machine, not playing, and then, or playing, and either one of you win, good to go. The household finances are better. So team up, someone on each slot machine in the network of those slot machines. It might be 10, 20, it might be zero. It might be one machine, a standalone. So that's one of the things you need to look at is how big of a network. And that's a real good reason. You might say, hey, slot stalker friend, why don't we sit down together? And, we won't know which one wins, but one of us will. And, 50-50 if we both make maximum bets. And so team up. Also, a team is great because sometimes people visit casinos at different times, and you might get a call saying, get up here. The number is getting close to the must hit by, and it's time to do this. It should be like another half hour or so. Can you get here so we can fill up all the network machines with somebody we want to win? And then just, you can also work out a deal to say, well, we share that profit. But that's really a business arrangement that's up to you. And these are all important things. Now, the labeled must hit by, I started looking into this because I began to realize that must hit bys exist even if it's not labeled with a must hit by. It's a bizarre concept. It's an innovative concept, and you're hearing it here first, unless you're a member of Slots Labs. So this is, I have had so many audience members that have come to me and said, yeah, "You're like at the next level," and I'm like, "Okay, okay, yeah, sure. I'm sorry for the other folks who haven't figured stuff out, but when you put 5 years into doing this, and I put what I started my podcast in 2017. I wrote my book in 2015, so 8 years coming, and one in 2013 made me think about starting the business. 10 years, a decade of just intense activity. If you're on YouTube and not Facebook right now, yeah, Hialeah Park in Miami, Bella Bella. It's on their webpage. But if you are interrupt myself there. Yeah. So slot machines that have progressives, they're all set with a must hit buy, but not labeled with a must hit buy for each of their progressive jackpots. Okay. Well, that doesn't really help us until I realized something else, which is casinos don't decide what the best must hit buy amount setting is on those slot machines. They don't have time. They don't have, organizations. Only the top tier MGMs and Caesars Entertainment has a corporate headquarters with a couple of offices where people work on these things. Everybody else is like, well, we can just hire slot manufacturers to tell us. They have all kinds of consultants and services and other things that they offer. And one of the things, when they make the slot machines, they get feedback from all their casinos on what is the best number to use. And so they tell the casino what the setting should be for that must hit buy. Make it this, because we found that you casinos make more money when it is this. Okay. So now all you need to do is figure out what the must hit buy is when it's unlabeled on the machine. Isn't that like crazy stuff? So it's not set by individual casinos. It's set by the slot machine manufacturers, because the casinos take their recommendation and uses it. So if you figure out the consequences of this are if you figure out what the unlabeled must hit buy is for a slot machine game theme at your casino, you have figured it out at all casinos for that game theme. Can't say any simpler than that. So I have published information on all the hand pay data for the last 10 months and accumulating more all the time. I have also the Slots Lab team of 20 hunters, and we chose 3 popular slot machines. We actually chose 5, but it turned out that one machine was like, I guess nobody else has it. I have it from the published casino hand pays, but they don't. And so there's 3 machines that we focused on, and this is them. Let me make it a little bit larger. Okay. Cash Falls, Huff and More Puff, not Huff and Puff, but Huff and More Puff, and 88 Fortunes. Yeah. And if you go to courses.professorslots.com, there you go. You'll see that. Let me bring it up for you. So if you go to courses.professorslots.com, you will see pre-orders available. I'm innovative, next level. That's what people tell me. And so I don't know if this is going to sell. I'm making them as cheap as I possibly can. It's a lot of work. A lot of people have put a lot of work into this. My team has. So if you are interested, if your casino has Cash Falls, these are all low limit machines, multi-denomination machines, 88 Fortunes, Huff and More Puff, I will give you the must hit buy estimate for these machines. Now, majors and grands can be thousands of dollars. I won't say exactly how high I'll get because that's what I'm selling. But if you if you have these machines, I will give you an estimate that is for the grand, or sometimes called mega on one machine of these machines, and the major. And that is something that will that is something that you will get for this. But these grands, megas, majors are thousands of dollars, which is, you might have to spend $1,000 to win, I don't know, $8,000. And that's not a precise number. And then, you get a profit of $7,000. And I'm offering this for $497, one price, or 3 easy payments of $179.50. So $1,500 for all 3. Or you can take Slot Slabs, which is further down the screen here. See it right there. And that's $1,000, $997, and I will give you all 3 of these for that. Why is it so cheap? Because it is an estimate. And what I would like to do is get the estimate better. And when I have a rock solid, close to on the nose number, and I only have it within less than that for these 3, then it'll shoot up to the size of the major. It'll cost you a major to buy it, and the first one goes towards paying for this course, and the next 3, 4, 5, 10, every 10 to 20 days, that's all you. So if nobody is willing to purchase this at this reasonable rate, okay, move on to something else and forget it. I do this for every course. Are you interested? Let me know by purchasing it. And if you purchase it, I'll do it. Nobody purchased it, I'll work on something that you might like better instead of, money. Right. So let's look at some of the questions that came in. I acknowledge the donations and wish everybody a happy birthday, or wish Chuck a happy birthday. So Slots of Fun says Two Kings Casino in North Carolina has some Ainsworth machines, and we like the Surefire Progressives must hit by. Yeah, be a slot stalker. You don't have to purchase my stuff. You can just, join the crowd of people at your casino and see if you can possibly get on that machine. The advantage of the estimated must hit buys that I offer is nobody else knows about it. You're all alone. You get on that machine quickly and boom, and everybody is like, but how did he know? And please don't share on social media your win for this and say, that's the must hit buy, because you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're going to create a crowd of people who are going to go to that machine. So please consider me, us, everybody who's purchased that course. And don't let me sue you. Keep it quiet. Keep your wins quiet. Just blot out how much the actual amount was. Daryl has a question. Does Sunday morning have better odds after a busy Saturday night? I have found that 4 to 6:30 a.m. is better odds for a particular reason after a busy night, but it isn't something that all casinos do. So at first I was a little concerned people would be like, I'm not getting up that early. But it turns out a lot of people get up that early anyway. So I was surprised by that. So yes, go 4 to 6:30 a.m. And you don't have to spend any money. Just look. Go to the high limit room, sit down, wait half an hour. Did anybody win like the biggest jackpot you'd ever seen before making small bets? Did 2 people? Did 3? When the casino is not crowded? That's what I'm talking about. If that happens, then the next morning after a busy night, you go. but your busy night might be a Friday night. And so it could be Saturday morning. But again, the casino needs to have this accounting practice, and some casinos just don't have it. I learned it at downtown Cincinnati's casino, and then I went to my next casino in 2013 that was just outside at next to the Coney Island on the Ohio River. Well, they're both near the Ohio River, and I went to that second casino assuming this would work, and it didn't. And so you need to figure out, just, you don't have to spend any money, just be there 4 o'clock to 6:30 and after a busy night, and just see if anybody's like winning unusual amounts, and then the next time you go. Yeah, could be every casino is different. They buy different okay. And every casino is different, and you need to learn. Yeah, I'm trying to teach people how to, how these things work. I do casino reviews, and I don't often, when I drive 100 miles, go to a casino. I try to go at noon on a Sunday. That's not early morning. And I find it a little bit difficult to travel and then get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because that's traveling in the middle of the night when it's a couple hours away. So I can't test every strategy at casinos that are far from me. But you could, if you get a room, you could just get up early and from your room and go downstairs and check it. So I check for the 5-spin method. I can't even check for 1 week later, because I'm not there a week later. So there's only so much I can do on my casino reviews. And Hoof says, I bring a cigar and Bic lighter for the person that wants to sit next to me and blow cigarette smoke in my direction. Okay, that doesn't seem terribly logical. If they're going to blow cigarette smoke in your direction and you blow it back, I don't see how they would have any problem with that. But I appreciate the thought. Hi, Charles. Hey, Vanessa. I'm glad you were able to make your first live chat too. Welcome. Yes, that's one of the things to watch for. The 3 machines that I was talking about do not have a frozen, what I call it, a cap. Some machines cap. That's one of the reasons why we had 5 machines that we looked at in the first slots labs, because one of them, not at every casino, multiple casinos had a cap of $18,888.88, where it would go to that size and then just stop, and you keep playing, but it didn't increase. And that's a marketing thing. It also comes from the slot machine manufacturers, but the casino has to decide whether or not they want to set that. Most 20 participants in Slots Labs went out to their casinos and saw these machines at 18 of them, but 2 casinos chose not to set a cap. So I'm working hard to make sure I have slot machines where that option of capping is not there. Yeah, it's a known thing to watch for. This is the work I'm doing is not easy. I'm happy to do it, but and anything worthwhile is hard to do. I'll point to my college degrees and say, yeah, every one of them was tough. And so Mary Ellen says, say a team of 4 hits on a big progressive, who gets the tax burden? Yeah, these are the questions you'd have to go through if you have a team. I think that it's a great idea to say, all 4 of us will sit at this machine. Whoever gets it, gets it. Because doing anything else is complicated. Having a signed contract, and all of that. I went to a high limit slots poll in 2018. There was a bunch of people. It was in Foxwoods in Connecticut. it was a bunch of people, and they were all standing around. I have photos of it on my article about that, going to that casino and reviewing it. And they started at the beginning, and they said, okay, we need somebody to take the W2G, not the winnings, just the W2G. And I looked around, and everybody was like, oh, no, 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 I'm not accepting that. And I realized it was all people who were like craps players. That's the group that I was with. They were like, well, we'll do a slot machine, a high limit pull, but mostly we're crap players, blackjack players, poker players. If you've heard of some of the podcasts, you can bet on that. Mike and Dr. Mike, Mark and Dr. Mike were there, and Mark taught me craps at a craps table. I was like, wow. He even told me what a well drink was. I didn't know what a well drink was because, I play slot machines, not so much table games. But yeah, they were asking who will accept the W2G, and nobody stepped forward. And I'm looking around, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I raise my hand. Okay, Professor Slots, we'll take the W2 hand pay, the W2G hand pay tax form if and when we win one. And I'm looking around, I'm like, really, people? Oh, craps players don't get W2G hand pays. They don't keep great records often, and they don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, I'll add it to my 54 others that I've gotten so far this year. Thanks. What's the problem? So yeah. Would the others give back a portion of theirs to help the winner on taxes? Only if they agreed to it in advance, probably in writing, and then making them stick with that. But if you make it a regular thing, then it should average out. If you're all making high maximum bets on all the machines in the network, then it should average out on everybody winning. But yeah, these are the business decisions you have to go through, and not only having an agreement. What do you do about the single W2G, and then who wins? So I think that the easiest thing to do would be do it many times every 10 days, and if you have a team of 4, then you have a 1 in 4 chance of winning that. And so maybe once a month you win a major. And altogether, 4 were one for each person. And if could be unlucky and one person gets 2 and one person gets none, I think that's fine. You just keep going month after month after month. But that's the decision. Yeah. Let's see. Well, okay, so Serenity says, saw a photo on the website of one of my local casinos, same person, same night, same game, back-to-back wins of that and that. So it doesn't mean that either one is the must-hit buy. I mean, when you play a progressive slot machine, you can win one of the progressives, both of the progressives at any time. But that's gambling. We're not talking about gambling. We're talking about a must-hit buy, even if it's estimated, where boom, it's not even the concept of 100% isn't even relevant here. You win, full stop. Let's see. Mary Susan says, we agreed to have the winner take 10% more for taxes. I will out Susan Thomas, and I will say slot stalker, and so you can have an agreement to have the winner take 10% more for taxes. That's reasonable. Question from Mark. High limit room in Miami. I assume you mean Miami Casino in Miami, or do you mean casinos in Miami, the 6, 7? Okay. They reserve the high limit room for the top tier player members. is that a great time to play? I'm not at that level yet. Since I was not allowed in, I couldn't see what was happening. Is there a way to take advantage of that? You know, can you crash it? There's several possible questions here that you might ask. And is any promotion worth going to? When the casino wants you there, when the casino says, okay, now is when we want you to spend money, are they going to give any back? You know, did they would want to give some back because they would want to have this as a regular event. But I've gone to I was a high limit player for a couple of years before I started realizing that all of you are not. So I know plenty about high limits, but now I'm working on solving problems for people who have $100, $200, $500 size bankrolls, not my usual $3,000 per night, and go 3 times a week, each time with $3,000, so it's $10,000 a week. Yeah, and sure, I know some people would like to have me do that now, but I'm still learning, casinos, and I just can't disagree with the intention of most people, of most slots channels, just like make big bets. And I know that they make $10 for every 1,000 views, so I can look at those channels that offer those videos, and I can say, look, they made $20,000 on that from that video, and they spent $10,000. So is that enough of a profit? Yeah, we'll see. Trying to improve their views. It's just it's a money thing for them. Okay, so and that kind of disturbs me. But it is certainly viewable. Certainly does make money. So is that a good time to go? They want you to go. They want to exclude people to get people who are excluded to want to go. If then statements, that's the whole point of the casino doing that. It's not just for the people who are going and for them to feel special, but for everybody else to want to achieve top tier and get to that event and motive. So it's a win-win for the casino. Now, whether anybody wins at that, I tend to think you'd be better off going some other time. Because when they want you there is not generally a good time. You can sort of do further analysis of promotions and listen for. It's not when it starts. Everybody's there. They want everybody to give them money, but then people start to turn angry after an hour or 90 minutes. And then the casino knows this because they've done it many, many, many times before. And so they're like, okay, we'll give out a few wins on the highly visible machines. And then everybody's like, oh, no, now's the time. Let's not head for the door. Let's actually spend money. And then casinos turn it off 20 minutes later. And everybody keeps on spending because they didn't notice everything had turned off. Yeah, you can. If you're a newbie, that's a lot to take in. If you're an advanced user, which takes all of a hot minute, then you can figure this stuff out. Yeah. Susan says, "You caught me." Yeah. Question from Letitia: do all progressives have must-hit buy or just certain ones? If you have, okay, so there are a couple of machines that a couple of progressive machines that you think are progressives, but they're not. Like often minis don't increase, so that isn't a progressive. It's up there with the major and the grand next to them, but they're just always 50.00, 10, 10.00, and they don't move. And so they're put up there with the progressives, but they're not themselves progressives. So those would not have must hit buys. Now, there are a couple of machines, as we learned in Slots Labs, where most casinos will cap them at $18,888.88, which is the lovely figure eight, the symbol eight that so many people love. And that's why they do that, but not at all casinos. So, yes, part of figuring this out is, watch the machines, go to these machines. Uh, if they have a labeled must hit by, you're good to go. If there is the unlabeled, which is the rest of them, look. I mean, we did the work for the 3 machines, and I'll have more, but it takes months of work to do this analysis, do the searching. But then I'm offering it as a product, and these machines don't cap. Other machines, well, we did learn that of one machine that capped, and it just stuck there. Boom, $18,888.88, and that means that that machine. So check. If you are doing this yourself, I put a link to a post at the beginning of the live chat, which is all on you, all the things that you need to figure out. Or you can spend $497 on Cash Falls machines, and you can just let me do it for you. Data diving, colorful graphs, data diving. Yes, and I saw your email this morning. I'll reach back to you. I'm glad you're feeling better. And so ask your questions. And excuse me, my goodness. Learn your casino, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So in the last week, and Chuck says, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. Celebration typically lasts a couple of weeks. Please enjoy yourself, Chuck, and everybody else. Have a wonderful week, and take care. So that's it. What a great live stream. You'll see me in my next live stream at Saturday at noon Eastern, or in the Pacific time zone, 9 a.m. In the meantime, I highly recommend you watch this video on how to do it all yourself and win progressive jackpots instead of buying my online courses on a few machines where I can just do that work, where I've done that work for you. Take care. Talk to you later.